lovely friends, it's Margaret, and it's time to nerd out about Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. I was gonna wait until I got this in the mail because I actually took advantage of Barnes & Noble's 3 for $30, and this was one of the first books I was like, I need this book. So it's coming, and I'm going to own it. I just don't currently own it, and I wanted to talk about it before I forgot about it. You knew Margaret was gonna check out the DC Icons series because Margaret loves DC Comics. By far and large, they are my favorite comic book franchise, namely because they have this lady over here, and she is my eternal fave. I have been obsessed with her since I was 6, and I cannot wait for her book to come out. I'm super excited because I'm reading through Batman right now, and oh my gosh, poor Bruce. He tries so hard to do things on his own, and he fails so miserably at being alone. Like, just fails. That isn't to say that I don't love Diana Prince. Holy cow. This book was so, it was so good. Like, I enjoyed it. There were points where I was like, I'm not gonna like the way this book ends, but I just felt so warm and fuzzy when I finished this book. I should have known because it's Leigh Bardugo, and I love the last 2 books of hers that I read. Plot of the book. I hate this part. The only thing worse than trying to summarize the plot of a book you've read is trying to summarize the plot of the book you're writing. Diana is all hunky-dory on Themyscira, hanging out with her friends, trying to win this race. Like, they're doing their own version of the Olympic Games at the very beginning. These aren't spoilers because this is within, the first chapter, and also not on the back. That's weird, but in the blurb, obviously. She witnesses this boat crash, sinking, whatever it is, when the boat just dies and goes underwater, and she hears someone call out, and so she, being Diana, because Diana is a hero through and through, she does the whole cool swan dive over the cliff into the water and goes and, against the laws of her people, rescues this girl called Alia. Diana has kind of a trend going on here. All hell breaks loose on Themyscira. There are earthquakes and people are getting sick, and this is within only a few hours of Diana rescuing this girl, and she discovers that the reason all of this happens is because Alia is a Warbringer. Warbringers are the descendants of Helen of Troy, which basically means when there is one of them alive and they reach the age of 17? It's 16 or 17, I can't remember. Basically, the world is going to be plunged into war like no one has ever seen. Diana, again, being the hero that she is like, well, I'm not going to kill this girl. What is the other way that we can save her and save the world? Now, I have to say, I'm not a huge Wonder Woman buff. Obviously, I know a whole lot more about Batman, and a lot more about Superman than I know about Wonder Woman because I haven't spent as much time reading it. But I did like the way that she built this world that Diana lives in and her place and story inside the world. It is very much keeping with what Rebirth is doing in the comics, where you have a more modern setting. Alia's crash is in kind of present day times. There were no Steve Trevor cameos. I would have loved a Steve Trevor cameo, but I don't know how she would have worked that into the plot, so I understand why it's not there. I like the fact that in this world, the Amazons aren't just like the ones that lived in ancient Greece. There have been more women added to the Amazons as time goes on. So that was super cool. You got a little bit of Themyscira, but not much. And then we were right into the quest and her trying to figure out, and it was hilarious watching Diana work in the modern world. And her modern world just so perfectly meshed with the story, and she just really used the setting to her advantage when she was doing this. The characters were fantastic. I loved all of them. It's Diana, Alia, and a couple more people that you meet, and they are hilarious. I am always in for some good banter, and there was some good banter. There was some good snarking. There were 2 people that could not stand each other, which is always hilarious, and not in a romantic way. You know how usually it's they can't stand each other and it's because they secretly like each other. It's not because they secretly like each other. It's because it's hilarious, and there are other things at work. But there was one character that I really liked and then ended up not liking, and I was very disappointed in that character, but I don't want to do spoilers just yet. We'll do spoilers after I say goodbye to those of you that have not read the book. It's a very diverse book. I think there's not, of the main characters that you see, there's not a single white person. You've got Diana, obviously, who is Greek. You've got 2 black characters, I want to say a Indian character, like Indian, not like Native American, because that's completely different. And then you've got, I believe he was Hispanic or Latino. I don't remember it being specified. Just going by his last name and his description, he was one or both. So that was super cool to kind of see a superhero book where not everyone is white, which is something that you can see, especially recently with DC trying to work in, like, Diana is no longer white in the comics. They're actually drawing her the skin tone that she should be. As for the plot, I have feelings about the plot. It was very good. But things happened in the plot that I did not like. So I'm going to try and be objective. But just keep in mind that something happened that I did not like. And I'm still not happy with it, which is that, like, this would have, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, but if that thing in the plot that I did not like had not happened, this would have been a 5-star book. All in all, it was really great. It was compelling. There wasn't a single point where it dragged for me. It was interesting to read after having read Six of Crows because, like, she really is, it's a different storytelling style in this book than in Six of Crows. So I was really impressed with how different she made this. Because, you know, you have some writers that you can tell it is them because they have, like, it's not that their writing is bad, but they, like, have a consistency in their writing no matter whose story they're telling. But this was definitely, like, it was very different. I thought that she came up, like, I mean, it was a fantastic plot. The plot was really good. I am being so very descriptive and helpful. I really liked how she brought the Greek mythology element into the plot, which you have to do. It's Wonder Woman. Of course you have to bring, like, the mythology element in it. I liked how she did, like, this very classic mythological story and then kind of turned it on its head and gave it a little bit of a deeper meaning. You really don't know, like, it keeps you guessing. I would think I knew what was going on and what was going to happen. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is what's gonna, and this is what a good author does, but this is what's gonna happen, and it's gonna do this, we're gonna hit this point, blah, blah, blah. And then she just would, like, throw a wrench in the works, and I'd be like, oh, okay, so now we have to completely recalibrate what is going to happen in this story. She made full use of the fact that Diana lives in a world where the Greek gods are real, where gods from other mythologies are real and have a presence and a power in the world. That is it for my non-spoilery thoughts, because I can apparently not talk about this book in coherent sentences that don't involve, I really liked this a lot. I hope it was helpful for those of you that have not read the book. For those of you that have read the book, go ahead and feel free to stick around. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I like. For those of you that have not read the book, you should pause right now, go read the book, and then come back and finish the video because you love me. Bye for those of you that are not on this level and have not read the masterpiece that is Wonder Woman Warbringer. Now that they're gone, let's talk spoilers. Alright, the first thing isn't really a spoiler, but I really liked the fact that Diana's favorite Shakespeare is Much Ado About Nothing, because my favorite Shakespeare is Much Ado About Nothing, and I hate Romeo and Juliet. Like, Romeo and Juliet, I appreciate what Shakespeare was trying to do with Romeo and Juliet, which is basically turn comedies on their head, but that's a completely different subject, and we are not here to talk about Romeo and Juliet. We will never be here, probably, to talk about Romeo and Juliet unless I am telling you how much I hate it. Not as much as I hate Hamlet, though. But that's entirely not Hamlet's fault. Anyways, so I was just like, Diana, we just became best friends because you love Much Ado About Nothing. I love Much Ado About Nothing. Beatrice and Benedict are just, like, the best. They're fantastic. And we had an entire conversation. I had an entire conversation with a fictional character about our favorite Shakespeare play. I totally just said Shakespeare wrong. Obviously, you can always hit a little bit harder than she hit when it comes to racial issues. When you have, like, POC characters written by a white author, they can sometimes just kind of brush over the issues that they face, because a lot of the time we don't understand the daily microaggressions that you guys face. She did hit on some of it, and she got in a little bit into racial profiling, and you definitely see that in Alia and Jason's lives, and I liked that she didn't shy away from that. You wouldn't be writing a black character in the modern society if you're not talking about some of the issues that she brought up in here. Oh my gosh, so Alia and Theo are so cute. I like she writes such fantastic, like, well-rounded romances. Six of Crows has some of my favorite romance in it, and then I really thought they were adorable and cute in this. I did like that there were stakes. Like, I thought it was kind of crummy of the Amazons to be like, oh no, we can't, to have this thing where you can't bring outsiders onto the island, like, whatever. But I did like that there was this, automatically there were stakes. It wasn't just like, oh, she's going on this quest. Like, she had to go on this quest. There was a personal need for her to go on this quest because she was trying to save Themyscira as well as the rest of the world. I really did like the setup of Themyscira and how they had, like, people from all over the world and from all different times in Themyscira. I liked that it wasn't just Greeks. And so she had like this kind of understanding, and they had this understanding of modern technology through the other Amazons that had come. That was super cool. That was a concept I don't think they have in the comics, but I really liked it. It was kind of almost a steampunk effect, even though it's not technically steampunk because it's not the right, like, we're not meshing the right eras, but it still was kind of almost like that steampunk effect. And I love steampunk, but so I really enjoyed, like, I don't love it when you have, like, something kind of historical and classical coming in with more modern stuff, which is probably why I've been enjoying the most recent run of Wonder Woman. I'm going to talk about the one thing that I didn't like. I did not like that Jason ended up being the bad guy. I was just like, why? They had such a great sibling relationship. I mean, he was a little overprotective and a little overbearing, but they still had such a fantastic sibling relationship, and I was just so disappointed in him. It was an interesting twist, but at the same time, I was like, you didn't really need that twist. Was it completely necessary? I don't think so. That's it for Wonder Woman Warbringer. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, and also feel free to subscribe. I make bookish videos at least once a week, and I would love to see you down in the comments. If you have read this book, if you are looking at reading this book, I would love to chat with you guys about it. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram. I will link down to those below. I post bookish content and writing motivation on both of those accounts. And that's it for now, everyone. I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!